Episode 30. And before we get into our favorite format, the Q&A, your shirt reminded me of something that I just picked up. I think it's kind of fire.
Wait till like today?
Yeah, so for those of you listening, I'll describe it. But for those of you watching, you're going to get to see what I picked up today. Scored. I was at Brimfield for a day and a half, and I got a bunch of stuff. But we're going to talk about that in another episode. This is Q&A.
Okay.
But just lay your eyes on these walkie-talkies.
Dog, what is that?
So if you're listening, they're like basketball colored. They're walkie-talkies from the movie Space Jam. On one side it says Space Jam. On the other side it's Bugs, and it's MJ. And they need 9-volt batteries. One of them's a little dirty, but I'm putting batteries in these, and I'm going to test them out.
Dog, when I come visit, can we use them?
Yeah, bro. I'm just betting that Joe is going to bid and offer me for these. I don't know what he's going to offer, but it better be high because these are making it to the shop.
Those are so sick. They're like, and again, if you're not watching, they're bright orange. It's got the big Space Jam logo on the back, Bugs on one, MJ on the other. Dude, these are sick.
I got them for $15 for the pair.
Wow.
Yeah. So I picked up a lot of stuff. And I guess the last thing I'll mention before we move on is I found an NES in the box, sealed in the original box from 1990, the action set with the Super Mario and Duck Hunt and the gun, right?
Oh, no way.
And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I've also got Super Mario 3 in the box,
love it.
in the plastic. It's like, what do you want for it? And we did a deal there on site, and I'm looking at these things, and they're going for a lot more than I paid on eBay. So very tempting to flip this. So it's been a good couple days of buying, and now it's going to be some good days of selling.
This is one of those rare occasions where I'm actually going to encourage you not to let it breathe. Don't open that up.
I think I'm gonna take that advice.
Okay.
Because think about it. On these two items, I spent almost $800 these past couple days, but I could get it back with just these two items, which I paid the most for of anything I bought.
Right, and this is the last couple of days of this big flea, right?
Yep. So at the end of this week, it'll be done. Me and my dad always go for 2 days, and just pack it in. And then that's it for the season. Of course, there's more antique shows, auctions, flea markets. There's online, always. But Brimfield, the largest in the entire world, all over the world, you will find
all over the world. Here we are.
Bigger antique flea market than Brimfield. People literally come from all over, and I'm happy with the purchases. And now it's time to go make those sales.
So real quick, this all over the world, this thing that Dave and I are doing. This is something that we learned on Cheap Seats with the Sklar brothers, where they would riff on this comedian named Michael Floorwax. And that was just one of his bits. And it was so unfunny that it was hilarious. And dude, I recently found out, per our buddy Joe, that if I had moved to Denver about a year and change before I did, I would have been competing on the airwaves with Michael Floorwax.
You mean the rising comedian?
Rising? Dude,
that would have been an all-time. I mean, at that point, you have to reach out to the Sklars and be like, how do you beat this guy?
Yeah, dude. I would have just said, look, there's no way I'm going to beat him. How about I just join him? Let me break my deal, you know?
Hey, homie and Floorwax, call us now. 6 caller wins.
Oh, man,
dang,
that's good.
Wow. You flew real close to the sun there. I feel like you dodged a bullet.
I really, really did, man. I'm really excited about this episode today. 30. I feel like we're finally, we're back. We're in a rhythm.
Yeah.
Dave's, inching back towards 100%. Real quick, can you just fill us in on your little follow-up today, and then we'll dive into our first question.
That's right. I had a follow-up with my cardiologist today, and they told me that I officially have a regular heartbeat with a regular speed. So the PR is under 200 milliseconds, so you can go look that up, what that is. It's between the little wave and the big wave, in your EKG. It's tight, and now I feel good. I have one more follow-up on Halloween, and then potentially I have an annual follow-up just to track my progress. But
Right.
I basically got the official all clear. We'll kind of call that the official all clear. Probably in October it'll be 100%. Right now it's like 99%.
Dude, I'll take it. And let's go ahead and jump in.
Let's do it.
To our very first question. And Dave, I don't have to tell you this. You can't have a Q&A episode without getting a question from Vicky Green.
All right, I'm excited.
Here it is.
As you know, fall is getting ready to make its way to Maine, even though it's like 90 degrees out this week. But what do you think is the best part about fall in Maine? Is it the seasonal desserts? Is it the colors of the leaves? Is it the fairs? What do you think that the rest of the world needs to know about how elite fall in Maine is?
Vicky's defense, and I'm going to keep this down.
Okay.
She did this while she was at work for us. Like, she could have got, canned on the spot.
Let's go. I was
So
like,
she was keeping up.
I was like, is it late at night? Do you not want to keep your roommates up? Like, what's going on here?
No, she didn't want her boss to hear her. She's supposed to be filing reports or something.
True A1 fan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Best
So, Dave, what is
part.
it about fall in Maine that outsiders should know?
You know, I think it's just really about Han Solo season when all the college girls go get their pumpkin spice whatever with their Ugg boots and their vests and their same shirts, and they can all stand and they're all looking the same. That's why it's called Han Solo season. But that's not the best reason. And the pumpkin spice everything is also not the best reason. For me, it's all the tourists leave and all the real Mainers are still here. We get football season. If you're up here, it's Patriots. And it's hoodie season. It's cool at night. Like, the air starts to feel nice again.
Yeah, there's something about that crisp air at night where you can just open up all the windows, all the doors, air out your whole house, apartment, whatever, and even just hang outside and just be comfortable in whatever you're wearing. And then on top of that, it's the foliage, like the trees in Maine and just all the different colors. And some of the views are just like postcard worthy, you know?
Many are on postcards. I miss when you lived in the apartment above the house and we would go out in the street and just run routes and play football.
Yeah.
And like your cousin would come by or Daryl would come by.
Yeah.
Or like even Ryan would be there. That dude just throwing the old pigskin around, like
right,
street football.
Fucking it around, Bob.
Yeah.
And they were very slow routes, mind you, but we were moving nonetheless.
I'm open. Yeah.
All
right.
we know.
One
We know,
Mississippi,
Bob.
two Mississippi.
JR, keep moving. I can't.
I'm deep.
All right, here is our next question. Let's get it.
What's up, JR? What's up, Dave? It's Luther here in Thornwood, Colorado. And I just want to ask you guys one question. Are you a tube sock or an ankle sock guy? I know I want to know, and the rest of the world wants to know too. Thank you guys, and have a good day.
That's Luther. Yep.
Luther Tube Sock, not Luther Vandross. Yo, what?
Oh, that's too good. I'll tell you right off the rip, I'm an ankle sock guy, even though the Gen Z will tell us that they're not cool.
You're going to show a little skin over there. All right, I see how you're working it.
Yeah, that mids are the way to go, but I don't know, man. I think I'll wear ankle socks for the rest of my life.
Well, that's why I came up with the company Just Mids. I was like, what's the height everybody's wearing? I was like, mids. So I have a sock company called Just Mids. Shout out to justmids.com. You can buy your socks there. I got to come up with the next colorway, but do you remember? I know you do. We would go to gym class, and if you didn't have ankle socks, because by the way, the parents would never know to buy them for you because they're not enough sock, and they'd be like, well, it doesn't cover anything, this and that, whatever, million excuses. Yeah. So what we would do is roll the tube sock under our ankle, so it was a no-show. Do you have socks on? Yeah, they're no-shows, obviously, but you would never show somebody what you did.
No. Yeah, you would pull it all the way up,
Dude.
only to then slide it all the way down around your heel and all the way back to the front. We're all guilty of it. Don't listen to this right now and act like you didn't do that, because you know you did,
Or
right?
act like you didn't get a bunch of blisters because you rolled them too far.
Oh, yeah.
And after
Yeah, it's
gym,
like,
you were like, man, just
like,
wasn't
Doug, those
cool
aren't-
to have tube
yeah,
socks.
those aren't ankle socks. Those are toe socks, bro. You got blisters, bruh.
Yeah, you would take your shoe off and it'd be all the way all the way down your foot.
Oh, yeah. The only time I would wear tube socks was growing up in the winter, right? I'd pair that with my long johns, or if I was wearing rollerblades.
Okay, true, because the rollerblades are tall. Basically, I think the rule as a kid was you don't want to show your socks. But now,
No.
I mean, yeah, dude, I like the mid-height, and that's like the look, I guess.
I guess so. I want to flip the script, though. I want to know, Luther, what kind of socks do you wear? And I don't want to hear about what you do with a tube sock. Can we just move on?
Luther tube sock.
Folks.
We'll hear from you again, maybe.
All right, here is our next question. And this comes from our good friend Sam Go out in California. Is that where she is still?
She's on the West Coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
What would you put on a rider and why?
Man, have you, all right, JR, because you've been on stage a lot more than me, have you ever had the option to have your own rider?
You know, recently I was approached by the company I work for to DJ an after party for this big podcast convention.
Oh, all right.
And they asked me what my gear rider was. So they wanted to have everything there for me. Never have I been asked, like, you know, silly stuff. Do you want only blue M&Ms? Do you want only this type of liquor? Do you want only this? I mean, for me, it was always like, hook me up with a couple sugar-free Red Bulls and I'm ready to roll, man. Like, I'm pretty low maintenance with that kind of stuff. So I don't think I've officially ever had one. But promoters and, you know, club owners, bar owners have like, hey, is there something I can have waiting for you when you get here? Yes. Sugar-free, Monster, Red Bull, whatever. I'm ready.
But, all right. So what would be the like, all right, you got a rider. You're going to go rock the show. You can have whatever you want. But how I think
Anything?
about it is, mind you, you still got to do the show. So,
Right.
you know, it can't be like a bunch of pizza in my mind, because pizza on set was like
Right.
the killer. Everybody would get tired and slow, and like things would just break down. Productivity was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you still could pick that, but I'm just thinking logically, like, all right, what would you really pick?
Well, before I answer that, let me tell you about,
And it would be free.
right, opening for Snoop Dogg at the Expo.
Dude, here's
Word
the story.
was part of his rider was a PlayStation
Okay.
that he had there. And rumor has it that they didn't leave the PlayStation behind like they were supposed to. They took that son of a gun with them. Bro!
You got plenty of money. Just get a PlayStation in every city.
Yeah, just decided, I guess it was the thrill of the steal. I don't know. But if I had to go out of my way to pick one, I would want a specific type of Monster energy to get me hyped up, right?
Right.
I would love to have pro wrestling playing on the screen when I arrive in the green room, okay? I want Nashville hot chicken for me and my crew,
Nice.
right? And maybe a couple pole dancers, bro.
Dude, it's a great idea. Just a little entertainment. Monday Night
You know.
Football?
Monday Night Football. I'm not, and I'm not talking like, yeah, all right, we're headed over to the main stage. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about a little, strip tease, just some
Yeah.
entertainment for the boys.
For the boys, especially if
Yeah.
it's Saturday. It's for the boys.
What about for you? What if we one day took this podcast on the road and we told a bunch of stories that we can't capture on audio and film? Hey, Dave, I want to have your room prepared for you. What would you like in there?
Well, I would just go totally off the rails and get I'm going to need a
You
fireplace. I'm going to need
What?
camping chairs.
They don't have a chimney.
Well, hey, let's figure it out. Maybe it's an outdoor venue. I don't know. Just open the tent up. I'm going to need like big screens to play sports. So you got sports playing in the back.
Specifically that one Jordan DVD that you have.
I have it, dude. I'm looking at it right now. It's on the mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jordan DVD game, the flu game, 97
Yes.
finals. Just have that on a loop. I'll just watch it over and over and over. And then for the alcohol drinkers, I would have tequila, Class Azul with ginger beer. And then for food, I would have Jamaican beef patties. So Max introduced me to this when we went to Kingston. There's a place called Juicy Patty, and it's like similar to a fast food restaurant like McDonald's or whatever. But, dude, these are like, you ever had a turnover, like an apple turnover? It's like
a pastry.
Yeah. This is just filled with like beef and goodness, and you can just eat so many of them. So that's what I would have.
Speaking of Max, him and his mom introduced me to Jamaican jerk chicken.
What did you think?
I thought it was delicious, but I was afraid to taste it at first because it was like yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know about all this because you know how picky I am with some of my stuff.
Yeah.
And then I finally was, and then in the back of my mind, I heard Debo saying, "Stop being a bitch and come on." So I did it, and it was delicious. I had like 2 or 3 bowls of it.
It's some of my favorite. So they had it at Brimfield at the antique show. I was walking by. I was like, really? There's beef pat? I was like, I got to go check this out. And there was a legitimate Jamaican woman. She's like, I've been here for like 15 years doing this. I was like, well, sign me up. Just give me two beef patties and a ting, which is like a Jamaican like soda. So they had like grapefruit and they have like lemon lime. And on a hot day, it was hot. It was like 89, 90 degrees. That hit the spot. So that's what I would do. Yeah.
That sounds delicious, dude. That's a great question, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question.
You know, and one day we're going to make that a reality. It'll be cool, man.
Yeah.
Our next one comes from my buddy Ropers down in Texas.
If given the perfect opportunity, would the two of you co-host a morning radio show?
Dude, would we? We've actually talked about this off the air quite a few times. And I often have this idea in my head that once I make enough money in radio, which might be never, that I'd love to come home and do this show locally with you, or at least license it out. And how cool would it be for us to be on the air every morning in our home frickin' town?
Then none of y'all can avoid us. All y'all that want to listen, you got another opportunity. We're not stopping the podcast, but that would be really great and fun for me to get to like do radio for real. Cause I've like called in, I've like kind of been in the background, help with stuff, but to be a radio host, man, that is a cool thing.
Yeah, I think it would almost pan out that our live broadcast in the morning would be what you could later download and listen to every week as the podcast. But it would be every single day. 5 days a week, rather, you know?
But, I mean, we'd have to get it teamed, cut it up. Like, Breakfast Club does a pretty good job chopping their show up. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't handle that.
Well, some of those tippy-top markets, they got teams for that, but old Jeff here, he's kind of running the show by himself, so to speak. So, one man can only do so much.
Yeah, radio. No, I'd say it's in the cards.
I'd say so. It would be super, super freaking cool, man. So let's go ahead, jump into our next question. And this comes from Kyle in Colorado.
Hey, this is Kyle. I was just curious on radio personalities, if you guys have to be fake around people or if you can be yourselves. I know there has to be a certain protocol with professionalism, but if you guys are totally different on the radio as you are in person or vice versa.
Well, you should take that one. But I was
going to throw it to you.
I mess with people all the time. But I'm pretty much professionalism. I mean, I don't really think about it. I just don't give a damn. And I just act how I would. This is how I would be.
Yeah.
If we stop recording, I'd keep being the same.
I think what Kyle here is trying to get at is what you're hearing from me on the air. Is that all an act, or am I really like that in person? And I would say the answer, truthfully, is yes and no. It's that what you're hearing on the air is very much me, especially now over the last few years that I've really dialed into my afternoon drive delivery and approach. It's me, but with the volume turned up a little bit, right? I'm there to, help people get home and make them laugh and be informative and funny and conversational. And, but if you were to, pop into the shop at Out the Box, and check out my shelf, which please you should, and we were to talk to each other, you'd probably get the same guy for the most part. You'd be like, oh, there's not really much of a difference. He's not fake. He's entertaining when he's on there, but I'm very much an introvert living an extrovert lifestyle, especially on the air and DJing and hosting events and stuff. So I'm not always at a 12. You might catch me around a 6 or a 5. People I'm comfortable with, like Dave, I can be at a 1 or a 2. It's nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would back that up. You're the same person, and the volume is turned up. But I think the major difference is when you start talking about something you're really interested in, if you're not on the radio, then I start to hear the radio personality. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the energy. And it's not that he's giving you less energy in person, talking about you. Like when JR sees you out, there's a different kind of delivery you need to give the show versus in person. It would be weird if you were talking at me like, hey Dave, this Friday. I'd be like, all right, bro, I'm right here. I'm right in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I'm not only going to talk to you in 15-second spurts, and then
that's a great video idea.
It would be kind of funny, right?
I'm like, what? You're like, hold on, there's commercials. I'll finish in a minute. Oh, okay,
yeah, in 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. I'm like, I gotta wait 3 minutes. Okay, for 50. Wait, that wasn't good. Let me try again.
Yeah, let me recut that one. But yeah, Kyle. Yeah, thanks so much for the question. I look forward to meeting you. I met Kyle because he was a customer at Out the Box in Thornton, which I've started a consignment shelf with.
Nice.
And it's doing pretty damn good, man. I'm super surprised. And a lot of this is just based off kind of seeing what you're doing and hearing kind of how you go about stuff in the reselling space and then thinking, well, damn, I love to collect. It's for me. It's for me to look at and admire. But if I can get some stuff for a decent enough price and flip it for, some sort of profit margin to just start off with, and then also bring people joy with pro wrestling, then that's a win-win, man. And I'm super excited about it. And I'm pumping out some really cool content with those guys. And so that's how I met Kyle.
Nice. Yeah, the latest videos you made were top notch. I've rewatched them since I went to go look for them. I was like, wait, let me just see that commercial one more time.
My dog.
I saw your every time, not every time. All right, that'd be a lot. But when you get a new figure and you show me the new layout with your shelves, I just at first thought, man, he could probably resell a bunch of those. And that's kind of when we started talking. I was like, did you ever consider it? I was like, you go to this place and you're like, I mean, yeah, I do know how to find them.
Yeah. I've thought about it, but it's like certain ones that I got because I wanted to open it and I wanted to display it and I wanted to admire it and show it off. But everything, once you enjoy it for a while, who's to say that you're like, okay, let me sell this and somebody else can enjoy it. That's how a bunch of my wrestling collectibles wound up in the shop in the first place. And my Money in the Bank briefcase and my title belts and DVDs and some action figures. But now I'm solely going out trying to hunt stuff that's difficult for people to find because they're store exclusives. Yeah. And you could go to 5-6 shops and not find it. So if I do, I like to pick it up and process it and bring it into the shop. And I'm not trying to get rich off this. It's just a side hustle. And it's something that I'm super into with these action figures. So it's a win-win for me, man. And I'm all about it. I'm waist deep right now in this stuff, bro.
I love it. Yeah, it gives us one more thing to strategize and talk about. And it's a good lesson to be learned here that not all things last forever. You can't hold on to something forever. You have to enjoy it, let it go. these
Yeah.
great walkie-talkies, okay?
Man.
These Space Jam walkie-talkies. I'm going to have like, days, I don't know, hours, whatever. I'll get to like use them. Maybe I'll use them for a video and be like, you know what? That was fun. Now somebody else.
Right. We need to film a bit with those for sure.
I'll save them that long. I'll just
Okay, my
price
dog.
them really high. If somebody buys
Right.
them, oh well.
Well, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
We're all in this to make a buck and have a little fun on the way. Next question comes from Josh in Brook City, Maine.
Who was one person that inspired you to do music when you were growing up?
So who was a person that inspired us to do music when we were growing up? It sounded like he was driving with the top down. I'll be honest, Josh. It's tough to hear you, brother.
It was probably a nice day.
Yeah. Who would it be for you?
I mean, it have to be.
You got into beats and I was already like writing rhymes and recording, and then we kind of, just met there in the middle in 2007.
It'd have to be Warren G. The first tape I ever owned was Warren G. Regulators, and I'm like,
Bro.
this is great. Whatever this is, I gotta be a part of this. And I'll tell you, and this is just recently, is like, again, being in the hospital, being near death. Think about everything. It's not like your life flashing before your eyes, but you're like accessing all these random memories as fast as you can. And I'm like, I didn't follow up on this. I didn't do this. I wanted to do that. And, it's got me back into taking a different approach to making music.
Yeah.
And shout out to Ill Mind on, who's a producer, who's produced for Drake. He's won Grammys. He's done a bunch of stuff. I've been following him for a long time. I actually have a mutual friend of mine has known him for a long time. And I just like following his mindset. But it's got me back into like, okay, like my goal is going to be, let me just make one impactful song, beat, whatever, track that gets published, gets used somewhere, and then see if there's more. And if there's not more, okay, at least I accomplished that goal, and it was like significant enough to put the time in. And I think I've never had a specific goal, and I've just always wanted to do it. It was fun. You were around, Ryan was around, the roster, everybody. But now that I have a goal, I can personalize it. And all that came from a Warren G mixtape, and now, well, not a mixtape, like his first debut, and now Illmind. So, and then, bro, and you, like, working with you has been fun, dude. We did the Sonic Wall. We've made money doing this. We've done shows doing this. We've done shows and made money doing this.
That's kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
That's super dope, man. Yeah. So Warren G was your first cassette, you said, or was that CD?
My first cassette. That was the first any kind of music I ever owned, and I'm pretty sure I still have it.
Bro, that would be sick. If you do, make sure you get a
gram
story on Instagram up about that. My first ever tape, Mom got me it, picking me up from, I think it was summer camp, and she knew that I hated going because I was a mama's boy. I always wanted to be home.
Dude, I think it's funny. For another day, I got a thought.
She would give me gifts from time to time for being a good old boy and, staying at the camp. And she surprised me with totally crossed out the cassette tape, Crisscross.
Man,
the Migga Mac, Daddy. It's the Migga Mac. What? Dude, I played that thing until the tape broke.
I know you did.
That was like,
because one day we went to school in 6th grade and we did Crisscross.
That's right. Dude, I was doing that in elementary school.
And I was like, this doesn't make any sense, but all right. And one of the teachers made me turn back my clothes. We went to school with our clothes turned around. This is what I'm trying to tell everybody. Like, we did I had the shirt, the Taz and Bugs. Remember that legendary shirt?
That is the 90s t-shirt.
Yeah. Crisscross as Taz and Bugs, and I wish I still had it.
Bro, you and me both. Yeah, and then I think as far as who inspired me, a lot of it was probably Will Smith.
Yeah.
I loved all of his stuff. I thought he was so charismatic. I love that he didn't curse, which is why I never cursed in my music, which if you've heard some of the deep cuts, I definitely have.
Yeah.
The
deepest cuts, man.
Yeah, the deepest of the deep. And then who else, man?
The old
definitely
Kanye.
kind of that. Yeah, that kind of era that we had during those very, impressionable years with the Joe Buttons and the Fabulous and the 50 Cent and the Eminem, of course. Like,
Burrow.
Yeah, and then a lot of SoundClick rappers like Burrow and DZK. There were so many of them, There were so many really good ones. And when you found like-minded people that were also into this stuff, like Nick and Jeffro and Martise and then later Hazard and Trips, and you just go down the line, it was all like we're all part of the same crew, but I wasn't about to let anybody outshine me on any song that we did. So it was the competitive nature, I think, about hip-hop and just the culture itself that really really allowed me to express myself as a creator, so to speak, long before that was ever even a term that anybody said. Yeah, so thanks to Josh for that last one. This question comes from Jonathan here in Colorado. I think the Rocky Mountains would be a little rockier. John Denver's full of man.
Yo, what's up, JR? So my question is, what inspired you to become a DJ and radio host?
Okay, so I don't know. This one kind of piggybacks off of Josh's question.
Yeah.
What inspired me to become a radio host was Rob Steele. He is the legendary Man of Steel in Portland, Maine. Gosh, I listened to him ever since I was a kid. I was always fascinated with that little voice inside the little box in your car, which anytime I explain it that way, people are like, wow, that's kind of cool. I never heard it explained that way. And I always thought, how do they do that? Wait, how can I do that? And it was always such a far pipe dream, right? Like it was, okay, that'll never happen, whatever. And one thing led to another, and the same guy I listened to as a kid decided to give me an opportunity. And dude, I took that and I ran with it so hard, so fast. And that's why I've been able to have, up to this point, the success that I've had is all because a strong work ethic, and Rob Steele thought that I could do this.
Dude, your mentor was the person it's like seeing someone on TV and that person ends up teaching you how to do what they're doing.
Yeah, they're going to be the one to coach you. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Jonathan. Our next question comes from a Instagram follower of mine. It is Fig Freak, as in figures, because I'm getting deep into this stuff, Dave. Here we go.
It's not Fig Newtons.
No.
What's up, JR? It's your boy Rob, a.k.a. Fig Freak on Instagram. Give me a follow, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Here's my question. So I grew up in the golden era, a legend era of wrestling, Hogan, Piper, all that stuff. But if I had to go rewatch a lot of this, the wrestling content, like on Peacock, WWE stuff, it's got to be the Ruthless Aggression era stuff and the Attitude era stuff. What is your most rewatchable content of wrestling and the most entertaining? Thanks, guys.
That's a good question, man, because I watch WWE to fall asleep every single night. And right now, I'm in the midst of 1998, I think it is.
Oh.
Mick Foley has just become Dude Love, and he's going after Stone Cold Steve Austin. Steve Austin has beef with Mr. McMahon. All hell is breaking loose. It's there's something about the call. There's something about listening to the commentary, specifically Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. When I get to listen to those two, and I don't fall asleep because they're boring. I fall asleep because of some level of comfort.
They're familiar.
Yeah, and just listening to them call what's happening. Like if I get into bed tonight and I pop back on where I left off, right, which was like the beginning in 97, I'll start there, and then I'll wake up. Like I set a timer on my phone so I don't miss too much, just enough to where I'll fall asleep. Because I've had it happen before where I'll start SummerSlam 94, I'll wake up, we're in 99, I have no idea what's going on, But the point is to be able to fall asleep. So I think to answer the question, it's that the whole 90s, It's the whole 90s. It's anything from the early 90s with the Hulkster to the mid 90s with Hollywood Hogan to the late 90s with The Rock and Stone Cold and Bret Hart and Shawn, like, dude, just everybody, and I think there's a lot of great stuff in the Ruthless Aggression era. So much great stuff. The roster at that point was the most stacked it's ever been, at least in my opinion and in my experience being a fan. But I'll always be able to fall asleep to Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler on the call. And I think to me that's the most rewatchable. And it might not even necessarily be because it's just, oh, this match was so great and that match was so great. Matter of fact, a lot of the matches were really short. A lot of them were like DQs. A lot of them were like strange stuff happened. But I think it's just because the age I was when I watched it. That's why it's the most rewatchable to me. Is there any for you? Like, yeah, because I know you're not I'm getting you back into this, bro. Like, you watched Payback, right?
That's great.
Yeah. Is there a certain thing if you were like, shoot, you know what? I got some time to kill, or I'm going to do some eBay. Let me pop on something on the old Peacock.
Dude, it's I found it on Peacock in the WWE app, well, in their area of content. Because it used to be I would just only rewatch that SummerSlam where Undertaker comes out for the first time.
I knew it.
It's just the entrances. And then I'd be like, with the match, it's like, whatever. And Vince would be calling it usually.
Oh, so underrated.
With a big hand. And he would just try to hype up whoever the guy was to win.
What a maneuver.
He's like, we've never seen this before. And you're like, you kind of get into it because it's like old school. And then, like, for us, it's old school. But then I found a compilation of like all the Undertaker intros and matches. And I was like, I'm just going to watch that.
Yeah.
Over and over. I can't get enough of that.
Yeah. I think if you were to be here tonight, the show we would watch is the SummerSlam of The Undertaker versus The Undertaker.
Gray versus purple.
Yeah, when I think of Dave and I think of his WWE fandom per se, for some reason I just always think of that match, and I don't even think I knew you then.
No. Yeah, no, but that's it. Who's the real Undertaker? I gotta know. I mean, we've known for years, but I gotta know again.
We need to find out.
Confirmation.
So, yeah, Fig Freak, really cool dude. Ever since I got into these elite figures, we've followed each other. He's been rocking with me, sending me like, hey, these are on sale here. Get this here. Watch out for this deal. And he's very seasoned in the elite game. So it's pretty damn cool. And I'm actually headed out to LA this weekend.
Nice.
And I'm trying to convince the lady to let me meet up with him for a little fig hunt. Just a couple hours. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, man. You sound like a husband trying to go play golf on Saturday.
Right. Yeah. Come on. I mean, just a few holes here.
It's only 4 hours. Don't worry about it.
Come on. All right. Our next question. I don't know who this comes from, but let's dive in.
What's your most embarrassing date? And if you could go back in the past, what's one thing that you would change?
Whoa.
Ooh.
Those are two very good but very different questions.
Yeah, this is heavy.
This is heavy.
Man.
Dog.
Embarrassing date, dude. I
'Cause
don't know. I'm sure I made a fool of myself in the very beginning when I started dating, but I think I've told this on the show before. My first date with my current girlfriend was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason there should have been a second date, let alone a response after the fact.
Poor planning. Let's call it poor planning.
Yeah, and for those of you that hadn't heard it, I decided I'm gonna take a couple bucks out of the old ATM. Maybe a little bit out of my price range. I'm bringing her to Topgolf, right? Except there's a 4-hour wait at Topgolf.
Man.
So I got to drive her to the bowling alley because that's kind of the same thing. That'll be fun.
Good audible.
There's an even longer wait at the bowling alley.
Jeez, dude.
I know.
Nashville, though. There's too many people there.
At that point, I was like, do you want me to bring you home? Like, we don't have to. No, this is, we'll find something to do. And boom, 4 years later, here we are.
Positive attitude. That's why it worked.
Yeah. I think what I would have changed is I would have gotten a damn reservation in the beginning, but then who's to say if I did? the date would have wound up the way, things happen for a reason, as they say. What about for you, bro?
Most embarrassing date. It's not that they've been really embarrassing. It's like it's boring, or I'm like, okay, this is just gonna go nowhere, and you have to just kind of ride it out for a while.
Yeah.
To be nice, because you realize the person is nice, and you're like, well, like, yeah, you're nice, but not.
You're great.
You're great. You know what? Just you're super. You're just fantastic. You're just not for me.
Yeah.
It's more of a friend vibe.
Right.
And then you sit there like, man, I just paid for this and that, and I didn't have to do that. We could have just split it, and that would have been like, hey, we're going to split this, which means after this, we're also going to split.
Damn, bro, you're cold-blooded, dog.
That's just how it goes. Like, what?
What if that happened to you?
All right. I mean, it wouldn't be embarrassing. I'd just be like, man, didn't see that coming. You know?
It's almost like, all right, well, it's not meant to be then, it's okay.
Maybe there was a time in high school, but I don't know. In high school, like, was there an embarrassing date in high school? I don't know, man. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Dude, I was just terrified of women until I was like almost out of high school. So I don't have a lot of experience, but let's keep rolling here if we shall.
What was the last part? If you could go back in the past, what would you change?
Yeah.
I would go back to the 50s and tell my dad as a kid to keep all his baseball cards and go get a whole bunch more.
Yeah, gosh, you're not kidding, dude. So this one, we're keeping the figure collectors vibe going. This one comes from Elite Collector on Instagram. Seems like a super kind dude. Talk to him all the time.
What's going on, homies? This is Jay Rodriguez.
All right, Jay, you better take a little bass out of your voice when you're done.
He sounds like the realness.
Dog, he's coming in hot.
What's going on, homies? This is Jay Rodriguez, a.k.a. Elite Collector 215 on Instagram. My question to you guys would be, what's a figure that you guys own in your collection that when you look at it just makes you smile knowing that you own it?
That's a pretty cool question. And he does sound a little like the realness. I can hear it now.
I
now
thought
that you said it.
I thought he was messing with us, but this dude sounds cool as yeah, he's cool.
Man, so what's a figure in my collection that I look at? And here's a common phrase that I use a lot on the show without thinking about it too much. I got to say, I recently picked up a WWE Ultimate Edition fan takeover Hulk Hogan. And this is specifically from WrestleMania 9 when he returns after Yokozuna beats Brett. And then Hogan beats Yokozuna and leaves the show the champion. And it's when he has that big black eye.
Oh.
So they have multiple heads, and one of them is the black eye with the fierce face, and it's got the headband and the shirt and the title belt and just all the different accessories. And anytime I see that figure, I'm just like, I smile. I'm like, that's the Hulkster, man. Let's go.
Well, I picked up an Ultimate Warrior this summer, and that was cool. Just a random loose figure. I'm like, oh, man, because I don't have... Well, now I have a bunch because I've been buying them, but I didn't have any.
Right.
I sold...
And this wasn't just any...
Or sold...
Yeah.
I gave the other ones to Joe like a long ago.
Yeah, you son of a...
I'm like, I don't want these. I'm interested in girls, so, just get this out of here.
No.
But...
No, I don't accept that, dude.
The only thing you'll never forgive me for is this.
No. It's bull crap, dude. Chose, come on.
He was just right there. He was down the street. It's proximity.
No. I still say that's not right. Okay.
You son of a...
Well, your Warrior wasn't like any normal, like regular. This was like a Series 1 or 2 Jack's Bone Crunchers Ultimate Warrior. So it was pretty dope,
It was the oldest Jack's one I think I've ever owned. And then I picked up at my first Brimfield a Macho Man Wrestling Buddy. Is that what it was called?
That's right. Yeah, the Wrestling Buddies. I got a Hogan one.
So, dude, we have what was their tag team? The Powers?
The Mega Powers.
The Mega Powers. We have the Mega Powers. That is the coolest thing I have.
Yeah, the Mega Powers explode, dude. That's us. We got to Photoshop them doing the big handshake and put our heads on it instead. But I have to be Hogan because I have that hot dog tan. Well, Macho does too, so I don't...
We'll flip a coin.
We'll just roll the dice on it. We'll figure it out. This next question comes from our buddy Chris up in Maine. Shout out to Chris one time. What's up, dog?
Just wanted to congratulate you guys on 30 episodes, and here's to a speedy recovery for Dave.
Let's go, dude.
Thanks,
what
Chris.
a nice guy. Yeah.
I'm on I'd say speedy as ever. I've been in the gym, I think, pretty much every day and feeling good. Feeling good enough to do episode 30.
I'm digging it, man. Yeah, and that's super kind of you to say, man. You know, you think about it, and even with that time off that we had, which, you know, obviously we didn't want to, but, you know, health is significantly more important, and Dave's back on track, and he's kicking ass, and it's kind of an accomplishment, dude. Like, think of how many things in your life that you've started that you never finished.
A lot.
You know, and
So
I
many
think
things.
I think that goes for a lot of people, and it's like 30 hours of conversation between us, recorded and captured. That feels pretty damn cool to me, man. I don't know about you.
It's approaching the longest podcast I've done. I did a baseball one that lasted over 2 seasons.
Wow.
So we're getting into that territory now.
Yeah, that just brought up a point. When I was working in Nashville, I did a wrestling podcast called Pro Wrestling Lifers with Moose. And we did that for a year, a calendar year.
Man.
You know, and the strange thing about it was it made watching professional wrestling, which is like my escape from the world, it made it work. And that was challenging.
Yeah.
And I didn't anticipate that in the beginning, you know?
Yeah, you put pressure on yourself to have, like, I want to have a different take, a smart take, and it's not just, I want to watch it.
One of the things that I remember most about doing that with him was Hazard would send us some of his matches sometimes for us to cut commentary on.
That's so cool.
And you know, that's something I've always wanted to do. Like, I would even go to like a wrestling school for that if there was one nearby to teach that, because I'd love to learn that. And I would just try to do my best, like Michael Cole or Vince McMahon, and Moose would, you know, decide if he wanted to play the heel commentator or if he wanted to be straight like me and call it, you know, and we just had that was just so much fun, dude. It was just super fun. And, you know, Hazard would point out certain points in the matches, like, hey, you know, really hit this, really hit that. And I would just call it like it's happening right in front of me live, like I'm here. I tried to make it sound like I was there. A lot of them were like in, you know, Saco and Biddeford, Maine, and, you know, at the Portland Armory or wherever it was. You know, it was just super fun. But Chris, thanks for riding with us. This guy's listened to us ramble for over 30 hours. So our hats off to you, good sir.
Yeah, man. A1, day one.
Yep. And we got a bonus question in here.
Really?
We do.
Okay.
We got a bonus question right here. And some of these folks didn't leave their name. And that's okay. You can be anonymous. That's okay. You know, here we go. And then we'll wrap it up.
What's your least favorite dog breed?
Hold on. I need to hear that again.
What's your least favorite dog breed?
What's your least favorite? None of them. I love all dogs.
Love
Any and all dogs,
All
man.
dogs
Come
go to
on.
heaven.
Yeah, I was just going to. You beat me to it, bro.
But if you have to choose, like, okay, if you were going to get a dog, what kind would you not get? You're like, well, I'm definitely not going to get this kind.
I wouldn't get a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in my past relationship, having 3 small dogs, Yorkies, I grew to love small dogs. And when I get out of this apartment and I get a home, like a real home house, I'm going to get a Corgi. And his name is going to be Nash.
Dude. Very nice.
For life. Not because of big sexy Kevin Nash, but that's going to be his nickname, Big Sexy.
That's awesome.
But because Nashville, you know.
See, there's layers to it. That's very cool.
Yeah. Layers to the onion. What about you, man?
Chihuahuas, man, just not my jam.
No, I know they're not.
But, you know, like my brother and his wife, they have one, Princess, and you know, it's like, it's a nice dog. Like, I'll still like cuddle with it and hang out with it. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but I wouldn't, you know, not my favorite.
No, I hear you.
More of a golden retriever, lab.
Like Air Bud, bro.
Like Air Bud, yeah. Yeah.
See, before meeting Roxy, Riley, and Ralphie. I was a golden retriever guy too. That was the dream. Like in Homeward Bound, I wanted to have a golden retriever. Like Air Bud, I wanted to have a golden retriever and teach him how to play hockey and baseball and football and basketball, all of that, all the balls. And then I was like, you know what? That's a big dog. You know, I love all dogs. I welcome them all. I'll pet it. Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? No. Can I pet that dog? You know, that's like me, man. And I recently did an endorsement with the Dumb Friends League here, which is a animal shelter.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got to host the Furry Scurry, which I think we've talked about before.
Yes, we have.
Furries, I love all dogs, man. Well, yeah, and it was funny because one of the cops came over to me. He goes, you know, my other boys in the department, they were, I don't know why he's all of a sudden a Mainer, but he's like, my boys in the department were all making fun of me because I'm at the Furry Scurry. And they thought it was something else. I'm like, yeah, man, it's just a bunch of puppies here, you know.
This is something else.
Yeah. So I laughed so hard. But yeah, they're great people over there. And I hope I get to host it again next time this year. So yeah, there it is, episode 30, Q&A in the books. I appreciate you staying up late, brother. I know it's getting to be close to bedtime over there.
What was that?
Dog, I wish I was still back in the creek. Yeah, if I was still there in the apartment, we could be talking on those all the time. You would never have to text or call me if you're in the house. Just use that.
Yeah, never. You'd never have to make the sound again.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah. Wait, over
but
what?
You would have. Okay, but what would your walkie-talkie name be?
I would be Nighthawk.
Nighthawk. I'm going to be Rubber Duck.
Okay. Over and out, Rubber Duck.
Nighthawk, is breakfast ready? Go ahead.
It's ready. Over. Eggs are over. Easy. Over.
You didn't call me the right name. Do it again.
Nighthawk to Rubber Duck. Breakfast is ready. Over. Life
no
completed.
Exploding hash browns, though.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thanks so much for hanging with us. For Dave, my name is JR. This has been Hanging with Homie. Truly the highlight of my week is being able to sit down here and do this with you all the time, every single week. And be sure to like, comment, and or subscribe. Share this with a friend if you're feeling up to it. And most importantly, remember, it's cool to be you. Peace.